So this is our last demonstration in the pinch pot realm that we have. We've been working on a couple of them where we've been doing some additive techniques, like we had our turtle thing, our animal pinch pot, where we're adding pieces on and making some stuff, a little bit of carving in on those as well. Decorative pinch pot, we did a little bit of carving into, but adding on things. This one is a subtractive sort of a piece. This is I call it a pierced pinch pot, just because that sounds good. Pierced pinch pot. But it has some holes in it. So this one creates like a kind of a basket sort of effect rather than something that could hold water. It's still a container that can hold stuff, but it has more of a basket feel to it. This one has pieces carved out and little triangles all over the whole thing, which is kind of a cool deal, and creates that effect. This one has more with some holes drilled in it to create more of an open feel. This one we covered the whole of the outside, the whole thing, holes everywhere. This one was a little bit more selective. I was thinking when I was looking at it, and the example I had, it looked like it was kind of like bubbles or something, you know. And so there are these bubbles that are bubbling up in this pot, and you can kind of see through those places. Some places it's a little bit more thick. Other places it's just a line of those bubbles coming through. And so that's what I was kind of thinking when I did it, and why I selected some blue for the glazes on that. So that's kind of the deal with those. This is another example of this one right here. I did that the other day, of just carving out little triangular shapes in the pot on those. So let's show you what we're going to do. I've ahead of time, we already know how to make a pinch pot, and so I made one up ahead of time so that we knew could have one ready to go for us. There's a couple of ways to put the holes into the pinch pot. Way number one is I'm going to do the holes first. There's a couple of different tools I have for you here. We got Exacto knife tools. Where's my favorite tool? Hold on. This is my favorite ceramic tool right there. I got some of this stuff. We got more of this stuff here. So I got a whole variety of tools that we can use. Ironically, I find that this tool, if you're going to do the holes like this one, this is probably your best tool. It just is. And so if we take the pencil and then you just kind of support it and rotate it through like that, it makes a really nice clean hole on the inside. Now we do get some explosions on the outside. It looks like a bullet came through there, but we're going to clean that off. And so we can take an Exacto knife and just kind of scrape some of that clean. Scraping is probably the best way. So kind of putting it in the middle and then just scraping it over. And that cleans off most of that eruption part and makes a real clean thing here. You can come with your fingers like this and kind of pinch like that, and then finally just come back in and re-clean the area with the pencil. And for really not much effort, that makes a pretty good, pretty clean hole for making your pinch pots with that. I will say this, that it's easier if you come from the inside here and push out. So start this way and go outward, than doing the other way. The thing of it is, you can't get into this, since it's circular, it's hard to get in here and carve this section out if I go the other way. If I have this one here, it's on the outside, it's on the curve, and so I can just take here and slice it in half and trim off that part, and take and scrape off this part, and it works really good, really clean. That's a pretty good edge for really not much effort put into it. Other tools I do have these loop tools. If you do find you have stuff on the inside, these loop tools can help scraping off those extra pieces here. It's called a ribbon tool is the technical name for this tool. There's another one here, has a little bit of a wider sort of a thing, and so if you're looking to can get that in there to scrape them clean. You can get in on the inside as well with something like this to scrape that out. That does have a rounded edge, so that's why I brought these out as some good tools. I do have the Exacto knives. These are just sitting right up here by my desk. You can use this tool also for drilling holes. Is you can just kind of take it and start drilling it out like that. And it does, when you do that, you do get just a little bit of stuff on the inside here you always get the explosion on the outside. Whatever you're drilling away from, you have that little bit of an explosion, and the need for cleaning that off. Be careful with the Exacto knives. They are sharp. Go figure. Some of them sharper than others. Some of them have been around for a while, so not quite as sharp. And so I could just repeat this design over the whole of the pot, or as much as I want. I could do this one. I'm going to make another random one like that. This one I could do the whole thing, where I went around the rim and then just gradually put one layer in, another layer, and it could be very, very organized, or it can be more random. I'm going to leave that up to you on what you're trying to do with those. The other one you can do as far as cutting techniques, the triangular one is a deal. Here's something I was going to mention. I can't remember if I mentioned it before. I'm just kind of doing a little bit of reshaping to see it, make sure that this is curved. When you initially make these pinch pots, they're going to be too wet to actually work with. You need to let them dry a little bit so they become leather hard. That's a ceramic term. It's an actual ceramics term, leather hard, that you have, and that's where it flexes a little bit, but it's not goopy soft with those. And so that's what I'm looking for. So this has been sitting out for about 45 minutes or so after I pinched it out, so that it can become leather hard and I can drill those holes in it. If you try with a goop, it's just going to fall apart in your hand on those. Okay, so this is kind of a no-brainer too. Well, how do you carve out this hole? This is it. I take a knife and I put a stab through it, and then get through the corner down here like that. And I just continue on with cutting that piece out like that. Oh, and it's sitting there, and I usually find if you just like kind of poke it, it'll come off. Twist it a little bit, and then it's ready like that. And so that makes a fairly clean cut on the inside. There's a little bit more residue once again here on the outside that you want to scrape clean, so that you have a nice clean edge. Those are the two shapes that I've found that I've used. Now you could make a series of rectangles as well. I'm going to leave that up to you on the type of piercing you want. I would want to make at least a third of the volume is probably taken out. A good substantial piece, not just one hole here, one hole there. That's probably not enough of what we're doing. But I could make a pattern on this one where I'm taking it like this, and just right around the edge, push that through, take that piece out, and so I have a little bit of a shark's tooth thing going here. So this would be an example of a little bit more of an ordered pattern. Now the thing you're probably going to notice is this does take just a little bit of time to make it happen. It doesn't take like years and years to make it, but it does take a little bit of effort on trying to make this a nice workable pattern. Probably best to cut that top piece first, huh? And then I can make this piece come down. And so this would make that nice pattern. Rotate a little bit. Now after I've cut several of them, I can come to the outside, and then I can work my cleanup. And like I said, that does cause, anytime you're going to be working on that does cause a little bit of the stuff to go in there. And so I'm just going to kind of tidy up a little bit with the blade, the flat of the blade, so it looks clean. Don't stab yourself in the finger, that'd be bad. And so that's kind of the look that I have starting for this one. And then I could just continue around the edge. Now eventually, after you get it all pierced, after you get all the stuff on that one, then you can add on a foot. This one is just a simple ring where I rolled out a coil of clay like that, and then I joined that ring together and smoothed it out, scored it, slip it, and stuck it right on the bottom. And so that's the example of this one here. This one is just another pinch pot that's been added to the bottom. On that, pinched out, scored and slipped, and attached to the bottom. Remember, we usually dry these ones a little bit upside down because of the weight of the clay on that foot when it's added on. At least if you do this particular technique, you want to make sure that happens. The coil, not so much. I dried this one right side up, and so it worked out okay. That's the pierced pinch pot. As far as the construction technique goes, should be entertaining. You should have 3 pinch pots now that we've done with a couple of different techniques. And that's it. That's the deal.